What is up, you guys? It's Monty. It's been a little bit. I'm going to quickly do an October wrap-up because initially I had planned on doing a reading vlog and then I haven't even started editing it. So what I think I'm going to do is just pull the book reviews that I filmed during the reading vlog, my discussions on those books, and post those instead. All of these have reviews on Goodreads. If I remember, I'll leave a link down in the description below to them. But the first one that I'm going to talk about, Rainbow Rowell's Wayward Son, there's already a video of it up in the corner. And as we all know, I didn't like this book. I thought it was kind of trash, and I'm just going to move on from it because, again, I have a whole video. Then the next book I finished in the month of October was Steel Crow Saga by Paul Kruger, and this is easily by far one of my favorite reads of the year. This is a high fantasy Asian-centered story with a female-female relationship as one of the 4 perspectives that you get, and I honestly cannot recommend this more. I'm not going to get too much into it because, again, I read this at the very beginning of October. Now we're in November, so you know a bitch doesn't remember anything that happened. But like I said, the review for this will be coming, and again, I cannot recommend it more highly. Next book that I want to talk about, I don't have. I borrowed it from the library, and that was Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. And I was not as big a fan of this one. I don't remember what I gave it on Goodreads. I don't know if I gave it a star on Goodreads, but it was cute or whatever, but I felt that it was very much a setup book, and I do think that the second one might be better. I'm not mad about how the first one ended because I felt like that was sort of the direction I wanted it to go in. But this book isn't all that memorable to me, if I'm being honest here. I felt that it was very slow. I didn't think it was atmospheric at all. And it was okay. It was definitely a better book that I could write, but I feel like I've definitely read debuts that were more of a standout. So it was good. It was cute or whatever. I'll leave a link, like I said, down below to my Goodreads review. And eventually I'll edit out my Wicked Saints footage and talk about it there. Then I read Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. This was, again, it was cute or whatever. It was very slow. It was very first book in a series. It was not something I feel the need to continue reading. Like, I own the first 4, and I'm in no rush to pick up the second one. But I'm not mad that I read it. It was just whatever. The last book I read in the month of October, I just finished last week, and that was Ladies Who Punch by... That book wants to fling itself off the shelf, so I'm not even going to try and keep picking it back up. Like, it wants to be down there. By Ramen Satuti. It was cute. I think that Ladies Who Punch has a very good beginning, it has a very good middle, but the end is very mushy. It's supposed to be the, you know, story of the view. It chronicles it from the first season to the present, but I feel like sort of after Rosie left the second time, the book doesn't really have anything to write about. Like, there's nothing interesting there, and so there's no point for that part of the book to exist, except it does exist. And even if he talked to those co-hosts, I don't think there was really anything in that part of the book that was interesting, and it very much felt like he was it was whatever. I don't care about it. It was a fun read, but I don't think that I would recommend it as much as I thought I was going to recommend it to people. But it was cute if you like the view, and I feel like you already know everything in the book. I don't think this book exposes anything brand new. Maybe about the producer Bill Getty. Maybe he's finally getting dragged out. I don't know, but that was the last thing that I read in October, and I don't think you're missing out if you don't read it. Now, the 2 things I started in October but I didn't finish were House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. And I got almost halfway through it. You can't see my bookmark, but it's like about halfway through. I just didn't care about anything that was happening. For the first part of the book, it was like one story, and then like 100 pages in or so, you get introduced to what I'm assuming is like the 12 Dancing Princesses like retelling aspect. And at that point I was like, I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to go down that path at all. But that's the path we have to go down. And so I kind of checked out at the story. And I don't think that it's poorly written. I think that it is okay. But it was not the book I wanted it to be. Or it wasn't the book I thought I was getting. And so I stopped reading it. And I might pick it back up, but I'm honestly in no rush. And I also picked up Ninth House. The dust jacket is over here on my shelf because I thought I was going to finish it and like spray the edges. I picked this up on release day, and that was the only day that I read this book. 114, the start of chapter 7, and I stopped reading. Partially because my plan when I picked it up was I was going to read a set amount of pages every day. And then I was not invested at all in the story. It was a lot more supernatural than I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't like a bad thing. Like, I was here for it, but I just never felt compelled to go back to this book and keep going. And so for the month of October, I didn't. There also wasn't this like fire because I wasn't making new content in October. So it wasn't even like, well, if nothing else, I need to read it so I have something to talk about, because I wasn't talking about anything. I spent the month watching Chicago Fire and playing The Sims and catching up on Titans and just like enjoying not reading. So picking up Ninth House is like the furthest thing on my mind. At some point I might finish this, but it's sort of in that same boat as A House of Salt and Sorrows where I'm just really in no rush. On to my picks for the month of November. All of these that I'm about to talk about that I have physically here with me, one second while I log into my library holds, are nonfiction books. Before I get to the ones I have physically, I just want to talk about the books that I have on hold that will be arriving in time, hopefully. So the first one I have is Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup by, I think his name is John Carreyrou. The thing will be up in the picture of the book. I wanted to read this because I've watched the HBO documentary on Theranos like 2 times now, and every time I'm more intrigued, and so I want to read the book written by the man who kind of like brought it to my attention. Then I have the Bromance Book Club. I don't have the author, but again, the picture will be up. This is currently still on order, but I know it comes out this month. So depending on where my place in the queue lines up, I might get to that one. And then, of course, The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. Again, I have it on hold. It's not something I'm going to rush out and buy, but I do have it on hold, and depending on where I fall in the queue, I will probably get to that in the month of November. Outside of those, all of the other books, I'm like number 60 in line or higher, so I'm not even going to mention them here in this video. So some of these are a lot chunkier than I thought. I didn't look at any of the details when I was going through and like clicking requests. Actually, I have one holdover from the month of October that I still want to read, and that is Batman The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. I had time to read this all month, and I kept pushing it off because I was like, I'm going to read it on Halloween. And then Halloween came, and I was not reading anything on Halloween, so. On to the rest of my nonfiction picks, and the first one I have is I Like to Watch, Arguing My Way Through the TV Revolution by Emily Nosbaum. Apparently this won a Pulitzer Prize. I just like watching television, and I just thought that this... Ooh, there's a chapter on The Good Wife. The Good Wife is one of the best shows on television. I'm really big into television. If I didn't have a reading channel, I would aspire to have a TV criticism channel, but alas, I'm going to read this, hopefully. This one is one of the more priority picks, because I feel like it's going to be more relatable than some of the other topics that I have stashed in here. Also, I have no idea what I'm picking, because I just kind of stacked these up over here. Next, I have Heirs of the Founders, The Epic Rivalry of Henry Clay, John Calhoun, and Daniel Webster, The Second Generation of American Giants by H.W. Brands. This might be interesting. I didn't vet any of the history ones that I picked. I didn't vet any of the books, so for all I know, this could be coming from a lens that isn't like neutral, because not all nonfiction is neutral. Some of it does have some kind of a slant, in which case I don't know. Sorry about that. The next one I can see is actually another novel, and it is Satan Sisters by Star Jones. The next one is another one that isn't super high on my list, and it's probably one I'm not going to read, because it's Inside Scientology, The Story of America's Most Secretive Religion by Janet Reitman. The next book I have to talk about is Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil by John Burnt? I feel like I definitely mispronounced that person's last name. This is a true crime novel, I believe. Columbine by Dave Cullen, and I think that I don't really need to talk about this one because I feel like the title says it all. Next is probably the longest book on this, and probably the one I'm not going to read at all, and that is SPQR, A History of Ancient Rome by Mary Beard. Then I have First Ladies, Presidential Historians on the Lives of 45 Iconic American Women by Susan Swan and Steve Spann, with a foreword by Richard Norton Smith. I saw this at Barnes & Noble a couple years ago, and I was really interested in it, but I wasn't interested enough to buy it, and I don't know if I'm going to read about every First Lady. I might just kind of flip through and read about a couple. The next one I have is The Spy and the Traitor, The Greatest American Espionage Story of the Cold War by Ben McIntyre. This one is another one I'm probably not going to get to because it's one of those that I feel like I probably should read. I would probably gain something from reading it, but I really just am not interested. American Prison, a reporter's undercover journey into the business of punishment by Shane Bauer. Then I picked up John Cracker. That's not how you pronounce it. Cracker? It has to be Cracker. But it's not Into Thin Air. I specifically chose not to read that one, and I went with Missoula, Rape and the Justice System in a College Town. I've heard some actually really negative reviews of this one since picking it up, and that's kind of put me off it. One I have is a non-fiction novel, and that is In Cold Blood by Chulan Capote. The next two are definitely the two that I am the most excited to read, and that is Drift, The Unmooring of American Military Power by Rachel Maddow, and her new book, Blowout, Corrupted Democracy, Rogue State Russia, and the Richest, Most Destructive Industry on Earth. And I'm excited for these two. Drift is pretty short, so I might pick this one up first, and then I might go for Blowout, but I really want to read Blowout next. I have something I'm currently reading, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But yeah, these two are definitely the two that I'm the most excited to read, and if Blowout hadn't come out at the very end of October, I don't know if I would have been as excited to do nonfiction November, so this is sort of what really got me in the mood. Then the last one that I have checked out from the library is Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward's All the President's Men. And the last book that I have on my November TBR is one that I have already started reading. It's what I'm currently reading. It's what I've been updating on GOODREADS for the past week or so. And that is A River of Royal Blood. And I have to send a special shout out to Penguin Teen. They sent me this copy for free. Full disclosure here. When I do review this, all thoughts are going to be my own. They didn't. Just because it got sent to me doesn't mean it's going to change anything. But so far, I've had a really complicated relationship with this book. And in the beginning, I was loving it. And then in the middle, I was kind of like, maybe I don't like this as much as I thought I did. But now I'm getting into the home stretch, and I'm kind of like, this is like, I have to wait for a sequel. But also, this book is actually, it's pretty good so far. Pretty good. Again, I'm going to hold final judgment until the end of the book, when I have had, the whole story here. But so far, I haven't felt bored by this, right? I haven't felt like I don't want to pick it up. I've always wanted to know what's going to happen next. So, okay, my camera's trying to find their faces and not focus on me, so I'm going to set that over here. But yes, A River of Royal Blood, it's on the list. It's the last thing on the list. And it's probably going to be the first thing that I finish this month. Thanks for watching. Until next time! But no, thanks for watching. It means a lot. I'll see you when I see you, but until then, bye.